Hello, and thank you for checking out the video today. Today I want to talk about 3 specific exercises that will help you prevent overpronation. Before I start, I think it's important to realize that I think we take things too far at times. Just in terms of what pronation is at the foot, if we think about as that foot rolls, we roll to the outside, we're supinating the foot. You can see I'm increasing the height of the arch off the ground. As I go the opposite direction, I am pronating the foot. I am starting to shift weight into that inside of the foot, the medial longitudinal arch, and my arch is going to start to collapse down towards the ground or start to flatten out to a degree. Pronation is extremely necessary. This is where I think people go wrong. Hey, my foot pronates, as I show someone a running analysis video or give them some type of feedback on an exercise. Yes, you should pronate to a degree. As our foot pronates, that's how our foot in particular absorbs force. We just want to make sure we're not going too far. We don't want to lose stability throughout the foot and the arch, but we still want to allow it to pronate and do its job. That's just proper foot mechanics. So if we just look at the difference of overpronation, I'm going too far into that position as opposed to maybe I'm landing as I run and my foot collapses down just ever so slightly. That's natural and healthy. A couple exercises that we can incorporate if we're trying to improve foot stability, in particular reduce the amount of pronation if we're overpronating. The first one is what's called big toe flexion and abduction. So essentially flexion is crunching the toes down. Abduction is me trying to move this toe more inward towards the midline of the body here. That's abduction, or away from the midline of the middle of the foot. So first one here, if we just put a mini band, usually recommending starting pretty light with the mini band, rather than just holding that straight up, right, I can keep my foot on the ground. I can work on strengthening those flexors. I'm pushing against flexion. Usually don't do this too much just with flexion because I feel calf raises will really address strengthening that big toe in that manner. But if I work on, you can see my angle. I'm changing the angle of the band. Now my line of pull is at a diagonal. So I'm almost trying to pull that toe slightly. This is exaggerated. We don't want to go this far. Pulling my big toe across the body. And then as I strengthen, I'm trying to push my big toe down to the ground and also over to maintain alignment of the toe, or even if I can get that toe to come over a little bit more out of that alignment to strengthen some of those muscles. Inside the arch of the foot here, we have flexor hallucis brevis, we have abductor hallucis, 2 very important muscles that maintain the integrity, right? Those intrinsic muscles that actually reside within the foot that maintain the integrity of the arch. So if I have my band here, just subtle, right? I'm not trying to crank too much on this. I'm just light tension. Base of the foot is on the ground, or that ball of the foot is on the ground, and then I'm almost trying to spread out those toes, get that big toe to move over, and then place it on the ground. I should noticeably see as I finish that I'm actually creating some space between that first and that second toe. That's telling me I'm getting that big toe abduction. I'm using that abductor hallucis muscle that moves that toe inward. This is what a lot of people fail to do. It's very tricky depending on what type of shoes you wear on a regular basis, your genetics, or just the anatomy and biomechanics of your foot. A lot of people tend to be a little bit more close here, right? You can see there's no space in between my toes. Everything is very close and locked down. So getting those feet to splay can be a little bit challenging. So using the band, creating a little bit of pull so we can feel that line of tension. Okay, yeah, I feel that toe being pulled up and over. So I want to pull it down and out. And then we can work on just slowly strengthening that big toe, those 2 intrinsic muscles of the toe. But you can see my first thought here is as I pull, is not just down to the ground, is actually pulling it across away, like to the inside of the foot, and that's where we really get those muscles. So that's the first one, just a good neuromuscular control and strengthening exercise for the big toe. Next exercise is going to be what's called foot doming. So if I'm standing here, and I'll just show you on my right foot, foot doming is creating a dome with your foot, which is essentially kind of shortening the medial longitudinal arch. So if we look from this position, I don't want you at any times to go and flex. You can see here, yeah, I'm increasing the height of my arch, but all I'm doing is flexing my toes. So I'm losing this base of support through the ball of the foot of those metatarsal heads. So if I can keep that foot on the ground in its position, normal and natural position, And then from there, I'm just almost trying to scrunch and close down that space from the heel to the head of that first metatarsal. So from here, keep my toes down. Don't worry about crunching the toes. I can feel those muscles in the medial arch start to shorten and be targeted, right? I'm trying to strengthen those. So I'm just trying to increase the height. Pull it up, relax it down. Pull it up, relax it down. So whatever's the best to think about that, whether it's shortening the space or it could be elevating that navicular and medial cuneiform. Whichever way helps you, as long as you are not flexing into the toes to cheat. We're keeping that foot long and flat, and we're naturally just engaging into that arch to elevate by using some of those muscles there. That's the next one. That's called foot doming, okay? Third exercise is let me grab a weight for a second just to show you guys. Third exercise is lateral toe taps, and then actually adding a other band on the ground, right? We're talking about integrity of the foot. So if we can put this kettlebell on it, something heavy, could be the leg of a table, could have a family member, husband, wife, kids, someone hold the band in place, could be under a weight like this, doesn't matter. But if I have two bands, one of them is going to go around the knees. A lot of you have seen me perform lateral toe taps before. Lateral toe taps essentially, if I'm in just a slightly bent position at the knee and the hips, maintain the integrity of my single leg stability and alignment, out to the side, and then back. That band stretches. It's trying to tug and pull the knee inward. You can see the collapse of the foot, collapse of the knee, collapse of the hip. I'm just trying to maintain the integrity of that single leg alignment as I move there. So what you can do, and by adding the band on the ground, if I add a slight stretch, I'm only going to put this under the base of that big toe, right? That first metatarsal only, not under the entire foot itself. So if we think of just what's happening in this position, I'm requiring that base of the big toe to be down on the ground. That's part of my foot tripod, which I want to drive down into the ground to create some strength and stability throughout the arch of the foot. As soon as I lose that position, the band moves, right? So this is direct feedback that's telling me, hey, either you can stabilize or you can't, but it makes sure I focus at all times on that. Because if I did the lateral toe taps by myself, sometimes with the tendency to drive the knee out, I can start to lift up that base of the big toe. So I'm trying to combine these pieces together to work on overall single leg stability. It addresses everything from the foot all the way up to the hip and the pelvis. So just to see a couple repetitions, place that there on a slight stretch, small bend in the knee, feel that big toe and ball of the foot there pressed down into the ground. If I ever lose my stability, that band is going to come out. So those are 3 exercises, very simple, but I think take some mental effort to really get down. I highly recommend that specific order as well. Strength, activation and strength first, teaching yourself how to form the arch, and then moving to some type of upright position where you have to control the entire limb, but at the same time you have some type of feedback to really focus in on that foot, on the medial arch, so that's going to prevent pronation. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out directly. Struggling with plantar fasciitis, post-tib tendinopathy, tarsal tunnel syndrome, again, all foot, lower leg issues, these series of exercises can be truly impactful and very good to be progressed over time to teach yourself how to truly control that foot to provide good stability and function up the chain. Thanks, everyone.